Is this loss? Loss memes are generally parodies and mockeries of the original comic by ctrl+alt+delete, which depicts a miscarriage in a very ridiculous and lacking way. But I believe loss edits reveal far more about the nature of memes and even reality in general. But to get to that, we need to take a look at the symbolic structure of loss edits. I'm going to do this utilizing the tarot, which is, in a sense, utilizing the concept of sacred or archetypal geometry. So to begin, the first panel depicts a lone individual, and I believe that this corresponds with the Fool. Now, the Fool is the very beginning of the journey. He is zero, and in the rider deck, he is depicted about to fall off of a cliff. He is walking blindly. This is the relationship that Tim has to this comic as well. He is entering into frame and is about to fall into a chaotic and depressing, miserable event. Now, this is followed by the line and a slightly shorter line. I believe that this depicts the downward trend that is typical of the pentagram. Now, this is not to be confused with the upright star, not the pentacle, which is positive. I believe that this card is defeat, the Five of Swords. This is the failure of his intellect. I'd imagine Tim is a guy who might approach a situation with a degree of rationality or attempt to do so. By the time we get to the next panel, we have two lines of equal length, and I believe that this is the Eight of Swords, interference. You can see that the loss edits do not contain the swords which are crossing the two main swords, but I believe that this is essentially the communication that is occurring without a bubble in the comic. And then finally we have the last panel, which is the upright figure and the figure who is laying down. And I think that this bears a resemblance to the 16th major arcana, which is the Tower, the fall of the Tower of Babel, the failure of communication, the success of death, the success of the death drive. This is, in the Thoth deck, a collapsing tower, people falling, but also important, there is a gaping maw letting loose flame, and this is what constitutes the lower figure. The upright figure is the crumbling tower. So we have witnessed Tim from ctrl+alt+delete go from an upright fool, but through a failure of intellect, through the success of these truly emotional and chaotic issues, we have witnessed him collapse. We have witnessed the collapse of rationality. But what do these loss edits really mean? I'm trying to get at the fact that even simple associations of lines and shapes hold a degree of symbolic significance, and that the symbolic significance of these things indicates something about its mimetic nature. The fact that the loss meme is very successful, I think, indicates that there is an unconscious understanding of visual archetypes. And these are not just present in memes, but in life itself. To quote Carl Jung's synchronicity, Kepler supposes that the secret of the marvelous correspondence is to be found in the earth, because the earth is animated by an anima telluris, which is Latin for life on earth, or the spirit of the earth, for whose existence he adduces a number of proofs. Among these are the constant temperature below the surface of the earth, the peculiar power of the earth soul to produce metals, minerals, and fossils, namely the facultas formatrix, which is similar to that of the womb and can bring forth in the bowels of the earth shapes that are otherwise found only outside: ships, fishes, kings, popes, monks, soldiers, etc. Further, the practice of geometry, for it produces the 5 geometrical bodies and the 6-cornered figures in crystals. The anima telluris has all this from an original impulse, independent of the reflection and rationalization of man. The seat of astrological synchronicity is not in the planets, but in the earth, not in matter, but in the anima telluris. Loss shares in these geometric patterns. When we look at loss edits, we are joining in with the anima telluris. We are experiencing the natural forms and shapes that are present in crystals and in mountains. Now, of course, this very concept is very difficult, especially for people who might approach life with a relatively scientific or rational viewpoint, which would deny the fact, if it is a fact, that there is a prevailing order in reality. Of course, Jung is saying that synchronicity is what Kepler was noticing. Now, of course, Kepler is one of the primary scientists in the history of science. His work on the planets is immense and wonderful. So, it's something to consider. Isaac Newton is also a major proponent of what Jung would deem synchronistic work, which is that he was an alchemist. He was a major believer in alchemy and utilized it to develop physics and various other fields. But from all of this, I think it's very important to take a look at something that the character The Judge from Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian describes. He says, "The truth about the world," he said, "is that anything is possible. Had you not seen it all from birth and thereby bled it of its strangeness, it would appear to you for what it is, a hat trick in a medicine show, a fevered dream, a trance bepopulate with chimeras, having neither analogue nor precedent, an itinerant carnival, a migratory tent show, whose ultimate destination, after many a pitch, in many a muddied field, is unspeakable and calamitous beyond reckoning. The universe is no narrow thing, and the order within it is not constrained by any latitude in its conception to repeat what exists in one part in any other part. Even in this world, more things exist without our knowledge than with it, and the order in creation which you see is that which you have put there, like a string in a maze, so that you shall not lose your way. For existence has its own order, and that no man's mind can compass, that mind itself being but a fact among others." What the Judge goes on to say is that it is man's nature and the need of man to produce his own vision of order in the universe. That is the expression of mastery, of control over the universe. The Judge is himself engaging in this. He is attempting to know everything. He says, "That which exists without my knowledge exists without my consent." It is this order-giving, this pattern-seeking trend that I see prevalent in the popularity of loss memes and loss edits. So when you question, is this loss? Question, is this order in reality that I see, that which I have put there, or is it something intrinsic to nature itself? Am I glimpsing something beyond me? And if so, how can I make order out of this chaos? Especially the chaos of the internet. The chaos most beautifully expressed through memes. As always, remember, memes matter.